Daniele Barbaro personified the Venetian union of the spiritual and the actual. He was an ordained churchman and a Venetian nobleman, a farmer and a classical scholar. Together with Palladio, he translated an ancient treatise on architecture by Vitruvius. And together with Palladio and the painter Veronese, he gave those ideas form in a villa on the Venetian mainland. Palladio's designs for villas and churches dominated the taste of subsequent generations. His influence can be seen in country houses built in Europe and the Americas over the next 400 years. Palladio wrote himself,
"This fabric is in Mazere, the castle belonging to the magnificent Barbaro brothers. There is a fountain behind the house with infinite ornaments of stucco and paintings. This fountain forms a small lake which serves for a fish pond. From this place, the water runs into the kitchen, thence waters the gardens, full of the most excellent fruits." City houses are certainly of great splendor and convenience to a gentleman, but perhaps he will not reap less utility and consolation from the country house, where the remaining part of the time would be passed in seeing and adorning his own possessions, and by industry and the art of agriculture, improving his estate, where also by the exercise, which in a villa is commonly taken on foot and on horseback, the body will more easily preserve its strength and health. And finally, where the mind, fatigued by the agitations of the city, will be greatly restored and comforted, and be able quietly to attend the studies of letters and contemplation.
Paolo Veronese gave full pictorial expression to the harmonic values that informed Daniele Barbaro's conception of the ancient villa. Under the aegis of the ancient Olympian deities, of the seasons, of the elements, he placed members of the Barbaro family, actual portraits. The landscapes evoked those of ancient Roman villa decoration, but at the same time, they reached out into the surrounding territory of the Veneto to the actual Barbaro lands.
Veronese invented landscapes based on descriptions by ancient Roman writers, yet he placed among his fictional ruins and temples a portrait of the villa itself. And the Barbari and their servants took their place among the gods.
The Barbaro family itself, the clan, its villa, its land, its own small world becomes a microcosmic reflection of the macrocosm of the larger order. Palladio's plan for the villa very clearly marks each room with a number. The numbers themselves fall into very particular relationships. That is, these are harmonic relationships, harmonic proportions, the numerical representation of musical harmony. Musical harmony seen metaphorically, of course, on the largest scale as the harmony of the universe. So that, in effect, the Barbaro family was living, we might say quite literally, in tune with the universe.
So in the villa at Mazere, Veronese reenacts the role of a painter from ancient times. Palladio becomes a new Vitruvius, and Barbaro a new Pliny, a patron in the Roman tradition. But of course, these scholarly games were being played out in a real world of political and economic change. The stability of the Venetian Empire was being undermined throughout the 16th century. By the late 1500s, the land holdings of the Veneto had become more and more important to the Venetian nobility. They invested in land reclamation, which would feed them in the short term, but also protect them from the full consequences of a decline in their status as traders. As the century progressed, so did the threat to Venetian trade, from the Ottoman Turks in the east and the new empires in the west. The crisis in the church, Reformation and Counter-Reformation, added a further burden of uncertainty. The gap between rhetoric and reality was widening. Yet, as the century moved to a close, the investment in the theatre of illusion, if anything, increased. The citizens of Vicenza, one of the leading cities of the Venetian mainland, commissioned Palladio to create an actual theatre in the imagined manner of the ancient Greeks. In the Teatro Olimpico, they demanded the erection of statues of themselves as lasting monuments to their dignity, wisdom, and wealth. For their first production of Oedipus the Tyrant by Sophocles, Andrea Gabrieli attempted to compose the music of classical Greece, and Veronese designed the costumes.